barbecue is, of course, a summer staple. But before you fire up the grill safely, as we showed you earlier in the show with Jeff Rawson, there are some food safety tips you're going to want to follow. Here with some sage advice is Today nutritionist Joy Bauer. Joy, great to have you.
Hi, Megan.
Hi.
So we put so much emphasis on what we're preparing and the deliciousness of food, but I think we don't pay enough attention to food safety. Yeah. So I'm really happy to do this. It's a refresher.
And you get food poisoning far often than you know.
You do.
Like, you don't know. It's not always this violently ill situation. Sometimes you're just like, oh, I don't feel well. And it's something that was totally preventable.
Right. And it can ruin your whole weekend.
Now, and something as simple as a cooler could make the difference.
Right. So when it comes to packing your food, you want to have two separate coolers. One is going to house all of your chilled beverages, and the other is going to house just your food. Now, intuitively, I think a lot of people put both together because you think, well, if I pack my food together with the chilled beverages, the beverages are going to help to keep the food cold. Yep. Does everybody kind of think that's the right?
Yeah.
Here's what happens. We constantly drink, so we are opening this cooler over and over and over again. And every time we do that, some of the cold air is going to exit, and that food is going to be at risk. So instead, grab a bottle. We're going to pack it all in here.
You need two, as inconvenient as that may be, actually.
And not only do you need two, Megan, you want to label them. So when this is closed, it's going to say beverages. And when this is closed, it's going to say food. So you know when you're thirsty, whether you want water or whether you want some booze, this is the cooler you're going to choose. I'm
Why are you looking at me like that? Right, what? Huh? Okay. That's easy enough. Now, what about leftovers?
You want to follow the rule of two. And that means when you have all of this prepared food out, it will only last up to 2 hours. And by the way, in the heat, only up to 1 hour. So if it's about 90 degrees outside, that 1 hour mark hits, you got to put it back in the refrigerator or toss it, because that's
no one does that.
You have to, though. You really have to do that. I'm telling
you. Put out the macaroni salad, and it's like an hour later, it's got to go.
Well, if it's hot, an hour later. If it's not so hot, 2 hours later.
Okay.
I'm telling you, you got to chuck it. It's heartbreaking, I know. But you really got to get rid of it.
What if you put it on ice?
Well, no, if you put it back in a cooler, you put it back in the refrigerator, you're fine.
Okay.
But you just don't want to let it sit outside. And here's something else to think about. When you go to a restaurant and you have leftovers and you put them in your car, if you're not coming straight home to put it in the fridge and you stop and you go to the movies or you go to a ball game or you hit a bar and you meet some friends.
Why do you keep saying that?
She keeps looking at
what's she saying about me?
If the food is sitting in the car for longer than 2 hours, you really got to toss it as well.
All right, good to know. Now, defrosting meat.
Right.
The age-old question. Do you do it in the refrigerator or do you do it on the countertop? What do you guys think?
Yeah.
They say fridge.
A lot of people wake up in the morning, you figure out what you're going to make for dinner that night, you open up the freezer, you take out your frozen chicken or your steaks, and you put it on the counter, and you head out to work. You can't do that because it's going to defrost at different time zones. So the outside is going to defrost much quicker, and you're going to be at risk for what we call the danger zone. It's that serious. We call it the danger zone. The meat will settle between 40 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and bacteria will start to grow rapidly.
Oh, so it's going to get too warm.
Yes, certain areas of it.
Okay.
So, and some of that is heat resistant. So even though you're going to be cooking it, you're not going to kill everything that's grown.
Oh, I thought the cooking killed everything.
No, not everything.
All right, so put it on a plate or how do you defrost it
So
in the
you're
fridge?
going to put it in the fridge, which is going to take a long time. So if you want a quicker method, you have it in a bag like this, and you're going to submerge it in cold water.
That's counterintuitive, but I did read that's the way you're supposed to, right?
And every 15 to 20 minutes, the cold water is going to start to warm up. You're going to refill it with more cold water. And guess what? In about an hour, that's going to be defrosted.
Because everybody would think you put it in warm water.
Yeah,
right? No, that's not it. Okay.
Well, and you could also do it in the microwave.
Okay. Yeah, but chicken in the microwave is funky, isn't it?
It starts to cook.
Funky.
Yeah.
All right,
absolutely.
how about now the marinade that you put the chicken in?
Right.
Once you're done, once you've cooked your chicken and you have the leftover juicy marinade.
So here we go. We made a lovely marinade. This is 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 3 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, a smashed garlic, and it works with anything. That's my go-to. You mix it around. So how many people now, you have your chicken on the grill, will take this leftover marinade and baste it or use it as sauce afterwards?
None of them.
You have a really
But everyone's
smart
doing this.
audience. And you guys would be right. You must discard this.
Nicely done, audience.
Because it's been sitting on the raw chicken and it's growing things.
And that's the other thing. When you use a knife to cut your raw chicken, you shouldn't use that knife to go cut your vegetables.
That knife goes right in the sink or the dishwasher. You're totally right about that. So when you make your marinade, a great tip is to make extra. Set some aside
Before
you put it in the bag with the chicken.
That's why she is the joyful cook. Joy, thank you so much. You can find that marinade recipe on our website. It's today.com/MegynToday.